Hello friends, welcome back to Digitalk. So in the previous first session, we have learned some basics of Git and GitHub. What exactly is the Git and what is GitHub? And then we have learned about when we initialize the project in the local repository, then how we initialize the project with the help of Git command, and then how we create the code, and then how we commit the code in our local repository. Okay, so in local repository, we have the staging and then the main Git repository from where we check in the code to our central GitHub repository. So that we have learned in the previous first session. Okay, so these are the commands that we have executed in the first session to create the project directory, then to initialize the project. Okay, and then we have created one sample file, and then we run the git add and git commit command. Okay, to commit our file, or you can say that code, the change in code that we have done, but that was completely till our local repository, right, in our local system. Now we are going to push this complete code what we have developed, okay, to understand the process, okay, how we can create a public repository in the GitHub, and then how we can push the content to the public repository. Now the action plan is very straightforward. You first need to create a public repository in the GitHub. Second, for the authentication, the password authentication is not authorized in the GitHub. Okay, it is completely disabled now. So we have to create a personal access token from the GitHub console. And instead of password, when we push the content, okay, we need to provide the this pad password. Okay, personal access token. So that we will generate from the console, and then we will add our repository. Okay, which we are going to push, and then we'll run the git push command. Okay, and with the -u origin main. So main is the main branch. Okay, so there is a concept in the GitHub where multiple developers can work on the multiple different independent branches, so that the code will not directly merge into the main code, right? So before merging into the main code, you may need to test the code with the help of CI/CD pipelines, or maybe with the help of manual automations. Multiple ways are there. Okay, but as of now, what we are learning, how we can push the code directly in the main branch. Okay, and then subsequently in the next session, we will cover how to create the branch, and then how we can merge the code in the different branches, so that your main code will not impacted with some of the bad code. Okay, so that means your main code will be updated only once all the changes has been verified. So that we will see in the next few sessions of the branching and merging. So now what we'll do, first we'll create a public repository. So this is my GitHub account. You can create your free account on the GitHub. You can go to github.com and you can create a free account. So your account will be created, and this will be your account ID that will be going to use at the multiple places, specifically when you are going to log in to your account from the Git. Okay, so this is the Digitalk FMW, and you will see your user ID here. Now, if you want to create a repository, you have to go to the repository section. So in the repositories, we have a two kind of a repositories, public and private repositories. So public will be accessible to anyone. So that means whatever the code that you will publish in your public repository, anyone can clone and download that code. Okay, but for push, definitely the credentials are required. No one can able to push even in the public repository, but pull is free. Anyone can download from your public repository. Okay, so click on new, and then here you to specify the name of the repository. Let me specify demo public repository. Okay, so I have given the name as a demo public repository. Okay, and here if you see, this is a public and private, so I'm going to create this as a public. So these are the two important parameters that you need to specify, and then you can click on create repository. So now your repository has been created. Okay, you will see the repository URL here. This is your repository URL. Okay, this is for your SSH connection, and for HTTPS we have this URL. Okay, for SSH URL, you need to configure the SSH login between your machines, so that you should not specify any password. But when we go with the HTTPS URL, so we have to specify the username and the personal access token pad. Okay, so I will note down this repository URL. Okay, because we are going to add this repository to push our code. Okay, so now the very first thing, we have created our public repository. Right, and after creating the public repository, to push the code, as I said, we need the public access token. So you have to go to again to the username, go to your settings, scroll down and come to the developer settings. Okay, and then here you will see the personal access token. You can create the token classic. Okay, there's a fine grade token which is with the advanced options. So I'm going with the token classic. Click on generate new token, and then generate new token classic. So here you can specify any of the node for your token. For example, let me give demo repo token, and then you can select the what is the validity that you want for your token. Okay, so I'm going with the default 30 days, and we have to select the repo option here because we are going to provide the access to the repository. Okay, so this will be the grants that will automatically be assigned to your this particular token. Okay, so you can access, restrict, or allow multiple kind of functionalities in your GitHub. Okay, specifically with the help of this token, which is going to be created here. So this will allow any of the operations specifically related with the repo repository. And apart from that, workflow, write, delete packages, these are not allowed. Okay, and there are multiple options are there. So make sure you have selected the repo option when you're creating the pat. Okay, and then scroll down and click on generate. And you will see a pat token has been generated. You need to copy this token for authentication. Okay, so this is the first time when you create the token, you will able to see it. After that, if you refresh this screen, you will not able to see this. So make sure to copy and save it in a secure place. Okay, so I will save it here because we have generated the token. Right. So now what we have done, we have completed two steps. First, we have created a public repository in the GitHub. Second, we have created the pad token. Now we need to add this repository in our local Git because we need to push our code to this repository. So this need to add in local. So first you can check if there is a repository which is added there or not. It is blank, so there is no repository, right? So this is the project that we have created in the first session. So now I'm going to run the git remote add and then origin and this command. Okay, sorry. So this command, this copy two times. Okay, so this command will add our git repository which we have created. Okay, in our local system. Now if I again run the git remote -v, then you can see origin for fetch. That means push and pull both. This is the repository which is going to be there by default. If you are going to push the code, you are going to pull the code. So this is going to be used by default. Okay. So now this is done. So we have to run this git push command. You want to push the code, then the command is git push -u and then origin, and this is origin the same name that we have given here when we have configured the remote repository. So make sure to give the same name. We have given origin. So you have to give the same origin here in the push command, and then main is the main branch where you are going to push. Okay. Okay, it is not able to push there. So let me see what if I am using the wrong or right repository. So I will go to my repositories. I will take the URL again. Maybe I have taken the wrong. Okay, so let me take this and I'm going to replace it here. Okay, let me try to run it again. This seems to be same, already exist. Okay, so it's not the main, it's master. Okay. Okay, so now for the authentication, so let me update it here. So if you need this code file, you can send email to us at digitalk.fmw@gmail.com. So we will send this document to you. Okay. So now, by default, when you in the Windows system, when you run this push command, it will prompt you for this window to sign up, right? Either you can sign up in your browser with the help of your username and password, or you can either provide your sign-in code with the help of token. If you want to allow with the token, then you can click on token. Okay, and whatever the token that we have generated, you can specify here. And this browser login, if you click on this one, it will take you to the browser. You can log in with your Git repository with the username and password, and you can also able to push the code here. So we'll click on token, and then we can specify the token that we have generated here. Okay. So once I will click here, and then it is going to sign in. It is not authenticated. Let me try again. That token. Okay. So now you can see the code has been pushed in the repository, right? And if I now go back to my repository and I will refresh my screen, now you can see this is the index file that we have created in our project file, right? This is the project file which we have created in the first session, and this file we can able to see here in our repository, in the GitHub repository, right? So this is the way how we can create the public repository and create the path and how we can push the code. But one more thing in the Windows system, so you saw that there is a prompt came in to sign in as a browser or a sign in. with the help of pat. Okay, so instead, if you want to disable that on Windows machine, then you can disable that as well. So this is the command, okay, which will disable your prompt, Windows prompt, okay, that we have got. Git config hyphen global credential man helper and blank. So this will disable the pop-up that we were getting. Okay, so after that, if you are going to push again, it is going to prompt you for the username and password. And for password, you have to provide the pat, right? So let me show you quickly. So suppose that I am going to change this file. I will edit this file and I will write some content version 2.0. Okay, I will save this one. So my code is saved. So what I will do again, so I have to run the git add and index because we have updated the file. So it is now in the staging folder. So I have to run git commit hyphen m to commit it in our my local final repository of the git. So let me add updated index file. Okay, so git commit, now it is in final repository of my local system. So now I can push it to the main repository. Okay, so and to push again, I am going to run this one. Okay, push and then origin and then master. Sorry, git hyphen u. What's wrong? Let me see what I'm doing. Something wrong. Yeah. So now you can see it is prompting for the username and password, right? So user name, you can give your email ID of your GitHub, whatever you have used for signing to the GitHub. So my digitalk.fmw at gmail.com. Now it is prompting for the password, okay? But you not have to provide here the password. You need to give the pat token that you have generated. Let me copy it, okay? And now it's not taking. I also got this error earlier as well. So let me try again. Digitalk.fmw at gmail.com. Okay, and I'm going to copy it again and let me give invalid username or token. Let me see what is the problem. I have given the right username dg.f.fmw at gmail.com, and let me try the pat again. Yeah, it is done. That was some temporary issue. So now you can see by this way we can disable this Windows prompt on our Windows system, so that it will prompt you for username and password. Now if you want to enable it again, so this is the command that you can enable. Sorry, you can just copy and paste it here, which is the git config hyphen global credential dot helper as a manager. So this will again enable your Windows prompt. Okay, that means once again now you are going to push your code. It is going to ask you for the Windows prompt, either you want to authenticate with the help of browser or with the help of pat token, which we have seen in the first window, right? So this is the net action plan, okay, for how to create the public repository, how to create the pat token, how to add the your git repository in the local, and how you can push the code, okay, and how you can enable or disable the Windows prompt in the window machine.